We're going to talk today about independent events. Up until now, in section 4.4, we talked about dependent events, where the outcome of the second event depends on what happened in the first event. So, such as taking a stack of computer chips where 3 are defective, pulling out the most defective, and then pulling out the second one that's defective. The chances of the second one being defective depend on whether or not we pulled out a defective chip in the first place. Independent events, that condition no longer exists. So what does that look like? Well, something like this. The Fulton family has 2 children. Cam does one calculation. He determines that the probability that the family has 2 girls. And Rushana does something different. She determines the probability that they have girls, given that the first child is a girl. So in Rushana's case, we have a dependent event. It depends whether or not the first child is a girl. In Cam's case, we have independent events, because the gender of each child is independent of each other. So what kind of calculations would they have to do? Well, Cam just determines the probability that they have 2 girls. So we have first child being a girl, second child being a girl, and the probability of a child being a girl would be 1 out of 2. One way that the child can be a girl, 2 ways that the child could come out, boy or girl, and as before, we're going to ignore any possible biological mishaps, so we have 1 out of 2. Probability that the second child is a girl is also 1/2. Multiply those together, determine the percentage, and there's a 25% chance that both children are girls. Now, what Rushana does is she's working under the assumption that the first child is a girl. Basically, that sets in stone. We know the first child is a girl, so we only actually care about the second child's gender. There is a 1 out of 2 probability that the second child is a girl, so that would give us a 50% probability. So the way that Cam has done this, he's talking about a general circumstance that under any situation, there's a 25% chance that both children are girls. And the way that Rushana has done it, she's treated as though we're dependent on whether the first child is a girl. If the first child is a girl, there's a 50% chance that both children are girls. We can look at this backwards and instead say, okay, well, what if the first child wasn't a girl? Well, knowing that information, if the first child wasn't a girl, there is actually a 0% chance that both children would be girls.